Hi, everyone. So like Maya said, my name is Sara Surface, and I've spent a lot of my time at UVA doing something called peer education. That means I'm usually standing in front of audiences, although a little bit smaller than this one, and giving presentations to my peers about sexual assault, intimate partner violence, and survivor support. So I want to tell you all a little bit of a story. I went to Maggie Walker Governor's School, and when I was a sophomore, I was unfortunately going through a really bad jean miniskirt phase. And Maggie Walker had a policy that I'm sure is similar to yours, that your skirt or dress cannot go above your fingertips. And so, because I like to bend the rules, I decided that I was in the parameters of that rule if my skirt didn't go above my pinky finger. Genius, right? So one day I'm wearing one of these jean skirts, and one of my guy friends decides to touch my butt. And at first I kind of laughed uncomfortably, and then he did it again and again. And finally I told him that I was going to tell the teacher about it. And he told me that if I was wearing a skirt that short, that I was asking for someone to touch my butt. And I just want to pause here for a second, because I want to acknowledge that I believed him. Society had told me that if I was dressed in a provocative way or showing skin, that I could not only expect to be assaulted, but that I could be harassed as well. I think there's this norm or this idea in our communities that when we're around other smart and gifted students, that we don't need to be taught about sexual assault, that we'll figure it out for ourselves. But I don't think that's true. I think we do need this education. Because in a couple of years, you all are going to go to college, and you're going to be told that 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 women will experience sexual assault before they graduate. And I want to challenge that, because I'm not convinced that we can't start working on that statistic sooner. What if in your middle schools and in your high schools, you all started building healthier and safer communities, and then when you went to college, you brought those norms with you so that you were the leaders in this issue? So we're reducing violence before you even get to college. But here's the deal. If you've ever talked about sexual assault before, you've probably heard it talked about in a binary. That means men, you might have been told not to assault someone, and women, you might have been told not to be assaulted. But we know that that kind of education isn't effective, because it puts men and women in different camps when we all need to be working together on this issue. When we create a narrative like that, it says that men also can't be survivors of sexual assault, with some studies showing that 1 in 6 men will experience sexual assault in their lifetime. It also creates a narrative that says sexual assault can be violent, or is violent, and is committed by a stranger. In reality, we know that over 90% of sexual assault is committed by an acquaintance or someone you know. Some studies have shown that for every 2 people involved in a potential sexual assault, there's over 40 people that could potentially intervene in the situation, but they don't. And you've probably heard about this in your classes. It's called the bystander effect. The idea that when something's going wrong and a lot of people are around, you assume that someone else is going to do something, so you do nothing. So from now on, whenever I say bystander, and whenever you all talk about being a bystander, put the word active in front of it. Being an active bystander comes in a lot of different forms. It can be directly intervening in a situation, whether it means asking someone if they're okay, or if they need help, or if you can call a friend for them. You can distract from a situation, create a diversion. You can also delegate, whether by getting help from 911, talking to your teachers, your guidance counselors, maybe an older brother or sister. Essentially, being an active bystander doesn't mean that you're putting on a superhero cape. It just means that you're helping out someone in need. Being an active bystander is a reactive way to help with sexual assault. We can also stop sexual assault in a proactive way. I encourage you all to think about starting a club at your middle school or high school that brings an education about this issue. You can also simply just start having conversations with your friends or family. Post on social media. Come up with a social media campaign. Do your research. We can stop sexual assault proactively and reactively. Most often, when I give talks like this, the number one piece of feedback that I get is that people don't feel like their actions directly reduce the amount of violence. They're not sure that what they're doing matters. So I want to let you all in on a little secret. After my guy friend touched my butt, sophomore year of high school, I did go to my principal, but I didn't go to report him. I went to tell my principal that I thought we should have an assembly about this issue, because I didn't think that was I didn't think we had a healthy community. And my principal said, sure, come up with a proposal, and I'll present it to the faculty, and we'll see what we can do. And I didn't create that proposal. And so then I went to UVA, and I joined a peer education group, and I've spent so much of my time on this issue. And I've met a lot of amazing survivors of sexual assault along the way. And I've actually since learned that at least 3 girls in my graduating class at Maggie Walker are now survivors of sexual assault themselves. And I wonder if I had created that proposal, or if any of my fellow students had decided to do something about the issue as well, if those 3 girls, if that number would be at 0. So all of that is to say is that your small actions, any action, does matter. You don't have to be the president of your club. You don't have to stand in front of 300 people and talk about a pretty complicated issue. But you do have a responsibility as a member of your community to do something, whether that's starting a conversation, being a member of that club, or simply speaking up when you see something that isn't right. Nobody has to do everything, but everybody has to do something. Thank you.